in celebration of Oxenfree. Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to another episode of In Celebration of. Today we're going to be talking about another narrative-based video game. In today's episode we'll be discussing Oxenfree. Oxenfree was released early 2016 by Night School Studio to great reception from casual gamers and critics alike. It was praised for its realistic dialogue.
So, how do you two know each other?
Oh, from way back when, like Paleozoic, grade school era. Young enough that I've seen her in a bathtub and it wasn't sexual at all. I mean, we both looked like little skinned...
Ren, why are you even talking about this?
It's humorous, right? It's just interesting. I think it's interesting.
And its interesting take on the horror genre, focusing just as much on the characters as it does on the horror. Oxenfree is about a ragtag group of friends, semi-friends sounds about right, on their journey to a raging party on the beach of Edwards Island. This group includes Alex, the sarcastic main character, Jonas, her cool and edgy new stepbrother, Ren, a beautiful boy who must be defended at all costs, and also the comic relief, Nona, a quiet girl who Ren may or may not have a major crush on, and then Clarissa, a total bitch. Yes, it's explained why she's a bitch later on in the game, but it just doesn't stop her from being such a colossal ass.
I'm just saying what Jonas is already thinking. That statistics show if you get divorced once, you're probably gonna get divorced again. And the fact is, your mom divorced your dad. So let's put his mind at ease and hear why.
I don't really need to know the situation.
Clarissa, Jonas is fine. He's not a scared puppy. None of that matters.
Well, let's hear why your parents got a divorce in the first place, and we'll see if it matters.
Clarissa, I don't really care why they got a divorce, just that Alex's mom is happy now.
But how can we be sure unless you know why? Silence counts as a lie, Alex.
Go to hell.
Even to the point where the first interaction you have with her, one of the choices is, ugh, Clarissa's here. But alas, you gotta take the bad with the good. Yin and yang.
Lemons, lemonade, however that goes.
But as these rapscallions soon find out, this epic party is only the 5 of them, as no one else showed up. And so, in search of something interesting to do at the beach other than drink and get into arguments, Ren, Alex and Jonas decide to seek out an old urban legend, which says that if you bring a radio to the mouth of a nearby cave, you'll tune into radio stations that do not exist. Spooky. And if you couldn't guess already, as it is a semi-horror game, it works. They're all freaked out, especially Ren, who may or may not be indulging in some, magic muffins.
Well, I am going to just rest against here, because I think I mismeasured the magic.
Yeah, you do that.
Do what?
But as people in horror media generally do, one of them decides it's a great idea to go deeper into the cave for some reason. Yeah, because those demonic sounds sure do sound inviting, don't they, Jonas? Now, I'm not going to show you any footage of what happens in the cave or what they find in the cave. Why? Because fuck you. But in all seriousness, as I have said with almost all my videos so far, it's best to go on blind, because in my eyes, the game will become 1,000 times more enjoyable going in blind. From this point on, the game goes from light-hearted romp through the island to a slightly fucking terrifying journey to save your friends and uncover the mystery of what the hell is going on. Which, might I say, this game completely flipped the horror cliches on their heads. I believe this game is one of the most original plots of any piece of horror media I've ever seen. But in between each objective there is a lot of downtime that you spend with the others, which are filled with fantastically written dialogue that help you really get to know one another, and is used as a device for Alex to get to know her new stepbrother, who she barely knows, a lot better, considering at first it's just you two attempting to find the others. I wouldn't really recommend this game if you're looking for a hardcore horror game that'll scare your knickers off, because that's not what this game sets out to be. In fact, this game sets out to be a more narrative experience with some spooky parts sprinkled in. But yes, in this game there's a lot of walking between areas doing diddly squat talking to one another. But as mentioned, the fantastic writing department makes sure there isn't a single dull moment in between objectives. Now this game isn't flawless. There are very few flaws. One of the main ones is at very certain points in the game the AI can act a bit strange, including one part near the beginning of the game where Jonas just stands still, not following me, which happened on both my playthroughs. Although this isn't a huge deal as it only happened once to me, and can be fixed by going to the next area, it can be slightly frustrating as there's some dialogue you might skip. And also there are maybe a few times throughout the game where the AI's lines aren't matched up with the length of the area you have to walk, meaning you'll be having a conversation with one of the characters, and then once you reach a certain point in the area, they just move on to the next lines.
who would sneak dates over from the coastal towns. They literally called it trawling.
Really? That's kinda gross.
Yep, the beaten path officially ends here.
This can be slightly jarring and immersion breaking, but it rarely happened in my playthroughs. By the end of this game, you really begin to feel like you know these characters, not only as characters in a piece of media, but as true friends. They are funny, layered, realistic, and deep. And even though I still think Clarissa is a colossal not a nice person, she even began to grow on me in the end, believe it or not. Now, this game has an interesting narrative structure and has multiple different endings depending on your choices throughout the game, which, trust me, there are some tough choices throughout the game, that's for damn sure. Also, fun fact, first time I played through the game, I got the worst ending. The worst ending that only 1% of players got throughout all their playthroughs, and I got that ending. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, there are just crazy amounts of ways that you can change your playthrough, including a New Game Plus mode, which basically makes the second time you play slightly different in certain areas with new dialogue, new set pieces, and much more. And they release this all for the low price of free. That's right, free. Big ups to the developers for releasing that. Overall, this game really gives you a fantastic cast of lovable oddballs and really makes you love them. Seriously, I believe this game has some of my favourite characters of all time. Hell, I'd even go as far to say this game has my favourite characters of all time, full stop, in video gaming. They are also fantastic and sweet and funny and, best of all, realistic, with great voice actors to boot that help you lose yourself in the game. And although there are only 5 characters in the main cast, let's just say you meet some unexpected faces throughout the 4 to 5 hour endeavour. And that game does mess around with some time travel a little bit. It's hard to explain without having you play, so once again, please do play this game. It's a fantastic game. Although now that I think about it, I seem to have a knack for time-traveling narrative games, although this one has less lesbian undertones than Life is Strange, sadly.
You can afford to take chances whenever and whatever you want to try. For example, I dare you to kiss me.
What?
I double dare you. Kiss me now.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! You're doing it good, buddy. Great job!
Damn, you're hardcore, Max. Now I can text Warren and tell him he doesn't stand a chance. Unless he's into girl-on-girl action.
But all in all, Oxenfree is a bloody fantastic game, which is able to deliver heartfelt characters you'll truly care about, along with some mindfucks and some spooky moments along the journey to help you find your friends. And as always, if the look of the game interests you, I'd implore that you buy it. It's a fantastic game that a lot of heart went into. Also, the people behind Oxenfree are now working on a new game called After Party. We have to try and outdrink Satan to escape hell. Yeah, if that doesn't scream originality, I don't know what does. But at the end of the day, this game is seriously great. One of those gaming greats I'm going to be replaying for a long while. And replaying. 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 And replaying.